In episode 1, we gave you an entire look at the history of LIU Post campus and the specific buildings where the Post family once lived. But there's many layers to the school's rich history. I'm Matthew Valentino, and for episode 2 of Throwback Post, we decided to take a closer look at 3 staples of the campus: sports, equestrian, and the WCWP radio station.
Let's open the episode talking about LIU sports. I'm Mikey Domagala. CW Post opened in 1954, and 2 years later, sports began on the campus with pioneers as the school's sports identity. This, of course, because CW Post was a pioneer himself in the prepared food industry. Over time, the school developed 19 different teams between both men and women and helped produce many professional athletes. All teams have had success over the years, but LIU's men's and women's lacrosse teams have a combined 7 NCAA Division II championships dating back to 1996. And speaking of NCAA divisions, and mentioned in episode 1, in October 2018, LIU Post and LIU Brooklyn athletic programs merged to become part of the NCAA Division I level. The Pioneers are now known as the Sharks. This created much uproar from the LIU community though, because some sports would relocate from the LIU Post campus to the LIU Brooklyn campus, a much different change of scenery. And some students were told they had to move to Brooklyn, and others were left in the dust because the sport was canceled. Tons of players began transferring because they were hit with the ultimatum of stop playing sports or try out for the D1 team and risk not making the team. LIU did announce though that if you made the D1 team, they'd honor your scholarship. The first season as the LIU Sharks was in 2019-20 and saw a lot of new faces on every team. Alonzo Ortiz-Trailer played 2 seasons as a member of the LIU Post men's basketball team before he transferred to Georgian Court University due to the merger. Ortiz-Trailer, who holds the LIU record for highest points per game in a single season with 27.8, spoke about his thoughts on the LIU Post-LIU Brooklyn merge, sticking it out with Post to finish his sophomore season and not transferring the second the news broke, as well as playing with walk-ons who didn't have any basketball experience. For context, LIU Post basketball went 0-25 the season before the merge.
And it was just heartbreaking. You know, I watched single one of my teammates either sit there in disbelief or some of us were crying. I remember I was crying because I didn't know what it meant for us. Seeing a lot of people just drop off, saying that they didn't want to play. You know, I spoke to them, they spoke to me. We all came to a mutual agreement like, yo, if y'all don't want to do it, then y'all don't, nobody's forcing anyone to play this season. Like, we knew it was going to look crazy just because we knew everyone wanted to leave. I saw it as an opportunity to showcase a leadership role. You know, it was one of those things where I wanted to really step up and just say, you know, I could probably lead this team. Seeing the dudes that walked on, you know, shout out Adam Heitner, Neil Feminella, Jamal Davis, you know, shout out to them who came on real quick, and they played a big role in just joining the team, keeping the team together, keeping the chemistry going.
Ortiz-Trailer also revealed his thoughts on why LIU merged the 2 programs.
I think what they did was it was strictly for money reasons. They saw an opportunity and they capitalized on it. You know, they did what they had to do. I thought it was an interesting branding move for them to switch everything up and to change the whole thing. I was kind of glad that they didn't keep the Pioneers because I felt like that would have messed up the history with a lot of the history that the Pioneers had up until 2018. So, you know, changing everything was a good idea for them. And, you know, I hope that they did well. It did suck, but, you know, it opened up a lot of doors and a lot of different opportunities for the future. So I was mad about it at the time. I still am kind of upset about it, but, you know, I'm glad that everyone has moved on to a positive path from that situation.
There was much tension in the LIU community due to the merger. It made headlines including the New York Daily News, Newsday, On TV news channels, and more. A bright spot in LIU's first season as the Sharks, though, was LIU women's hockey, a new team created from the merger, winning the NUHA championship in their inaugural season with 21 freshmen, 1 sophomore, and 1 junior. LIU Sharks men's hockey and men's and women's gymnastics have been added to the school's sports program for 2020-2021 and recently began play.
Welcome to WCWP, the student-ran radio station on the LIU campus. Ryan Boettcher here. WCWP is a key landmark on the LIU campus where many of the students of the past and present LIU Post enjoy their college experience. The history of WCWP is kind of an interesting story that not many people have heard before. In the spring of 1960, student S. Arthur Beltran and Professor Virgil Jackson Lee decided that they were going to create a closed-circuit radio station on campus. Fast forward a year, and on October 18, 1961, the first ever WCWP broadcast was sent out on the air. Over time, WCWP grew into an educational FM station where students gain experience on air and in many broadcast roles. Students who work with the radio station are allowed to broadcast their own shows or even get the chance to commentate the school's Division I sports. Many sports such as basketball, baseball, football, hockey, and many more sports are broadcast over the air on 88.1 FM, meaning anyone can listen to the LIU Sharks sports program. The Wave was announced in February 2019, which is the online campus radio station, which can be found on the WCWP app or liuwave.org. Radio out, social media, and podcasting in, that seems to be how society has been going over the last decade. Samantha UEBELL, former operational manager of WCWP and senior broadcasting major, told us about the difficulties the station had connecting with students over the last couple of years.
We try to keep the music on in the commons, and sometimes the people working at the concierge desk will just turn it off because they don't feel like listening to one of our podcasts. And then we have to go in there and tell them, no, you're supposed to keep it on because this is a student show and, we're trying to support our fellow students. But people just turn the music off, and that's not very nice of them. I think it has the potential to have a big impact. I think that there could be plenty of news shows and sports shows and things all about posts, and you could talk about your clubs and everything. But the issue that we've had is a lot of other clubs, a lot of other people aren't interested. If it's not something directly impacting them or infecting them or whatever the term you want to use is, they don't care about it. I feel like Post in general is kind of like that. It's very much a bubble community. So maybe that's why. Maybe it's because we're half commuter, half residency. A lot of the universities, it's mostly residents. Big colleges, that's what they do. But here on Post, we're kind of unique. We're more than half of us commute. So you go to class and you want to go home. You don't want to stay. You don't want to do clubs. So
although there were difficulties, UEBELL did see progress.
It definitely did get better as my career at the radio station went on. I definitely was able to get, some clubs to come talk. And our sports department really did explode from the time I was a freshman to until COVID hit. The sports department was doing some great things. We expanded, we did so many sports. We were covering Brooklyn and Post sports. They really did an amazing job there. It's a matter of if students pay attention, they would be impacted.
Many students and staff are involved in the station, even alumni who have their own shows. For years, alumni have come back to campus for homecoming weekend of the football team to step into the roles they used to operate on the station when they were in their late teens and early 20s. Alumni coming back decades later shows the impact of the station and the family atmosphere that develops there. Anthony CAVARRETTA, a senior broadcasting major who has been with the station since his freshman year, who has worn many hats in his WCWP career, spoke about the camaraderie at the station.
Not to get emotional about it, but it really does help me, and to have that family atmosphere. I've made friends there that wouldn't have made anywhere else, and it's a family that's there. Everybody does their job, but at the end of the day, you're still friends with everyone. You still will say, you'll hang out with them outside of the station. You'll hang out with them, outside of the university, just because that's the way the people are at WCWP. They look out for one another, and you're more than just, oh, you're my colleague. No, you're my friend who I'm doing this with. Great. And I really hope that doesn't stop, because I feel like it's such a welcoming community. I went in as a freshman, and right away, I was taken in, and they were just like, all right, we'll show you the ropes. We'll get you up to speed as fast as possible. And, I think anywhere else that'd be a struggle. You'd have to scratch and claw your way up. You had to work for it to get to the position that you are, to call games, to be a host on air. But nobody pushed you. Nobody said, hey, you can't do it. Everybody was like, all right, if you want to do it, we'll give you the tools. You need to prove it. And I think, that's something that you don't see everywhere else.
WCWP is an educational tool where any student can show off their creativity while gaining experience in the broadcasting field. You never know, the broadcast skills learned in LIU classes and at the station could bring you back decades later to show off how far you've come. For any future students watching, contact the radio station and get involved.
Hi, I'm Jada Harrison. Matt said in episode 1 that not every college student can say they walked to class while passing a life-size dollhouse. Here, we're at the North Shore Equestrian Center, which makes LIU the only school on Long Island with an on-campus horseback riding facility, which is open for anyone to join. 64 years ago, in 1956, the campus began having horse shows, which were some of the most famous events on Long Island from the mid-50s to the late 60s. The influence of horses came from Marjorie Merriweather Post, the daughter of C.W. Post, who back when she owned the property, rode horses to get from place to place. She also owned many luxurious horses. The North Shore Equestrian Center has private stables, which are used for Long Island residents, as well as stables for school horses, which are cared for by the students on the equestrian team. These horses can be used by students for practice lessons throughout the week. The indoor facility gives LIU the opportunity to host several intercollegiate horse show association events on campus, which provides people with further knowledge and interest into the sport. In 2014, LIU introduced its equine studies program to help students expand upon their knowledge of horses, the equestrian industry, and also collaborate with the new veterinarian program. There are 4 main areas that the equine program focuses on: equine management, equine education, equine health, and interdisciplinary tract. There's also equestrian classes where students who like broadcasting major Anthony Cavarretta with no prior horse experience or knowledge could take to have fun and receive credits. Cavarretta told us about the beginner classes and hint hint about the fun he has.
When I first took the class, I was kind of surprised and it was a little shocking, really. But overall, the class is actually kind of really fun, to be honest, because you get acquainted with the horse that you use every week. So you kind of just become more friendly with them, and you learn the etiquette of taking care of them, and you kind of become closer with the animal more and more. So you become more of their rider, which is actually pretty cool and not something I really expected when I signed up to take the class. But overall, it's been a really fun time. Having the program, it gives a lot of people a nice outlet to try something new, because you don't have to be part of the equestrian program to do it. And I feel like for most people who are coming in, you can say, I did this in college that I wouldn't have done otherwise if I didn't go to Post. And the fact that Post is offering it is really good. I know people who are coming to the university for equestrian, and the fact that program is there for them is a great opportunity.
Thank you for watching another episode of Throwback Post. For Mikey Domagala, Jada Harrison, and Ryan Boettcher, I'm Matthew Valentino, and that was episode 2. See you next time.